Saturday morning. You cleaned everything, every surface wiped, every cushion straightened. You stood in the doorway and felt it. That quiet, rare feeling of a home that finally looks the way it should. By Wednesday, it was gone, not destroyed, just slowly, quietly undone. The counter with its pile again, the chair with the jacket draped over it again, the table with papers that seem to appear on their own. And somewhere beneath the frustration is a question you've stopped asking because it never seems to have an answer. Why does this keep happening? You're not careless, you're not lazy, you cleaned, you tried, and still every few days you're starting over. That feeling, that specific exhaustion of beginning the same thing again, is what this video is about. There is a reason the cycle keeps repeating. And it's not about how often you clean or how long you spend doing it. The reason is something most systems never address. Once you see it, the whole thing begins to shift. Imagine arriving home on a Tuesday evening and not feeling the pull of everything that needs doing. Not because the house is perfect, but because it has a settled quality, a sense that everything is where it belongs. Not arranged for guests, just resting in its natural state. That's what becomes possible when you understand what's actually been missing. Stay until the end of this video. The last piece, the one about what done actually means, tends to be the part that finally makes the cycle stop. The Japanese practice of the 5S method includes a step most people skip. The first three are familiar: sort, organize, clean. The fourth is seiketsu, pronounced sei-ketsu. It translates roughly as standardization. But the deeper meaning is this: seiketsu is the act of defining what clean looks like, not just achieving it, defining it. Giving it a fixed, agreed-upon form so that it can be recognized, returned to, and maintained, instead of reimagined from scratch every single time. Without seiketsu, every clean is an improvised act. You're not restoring a known state. You're inventing a new one. And anything invented under pressure on a tired afternoon will drift. Think of it this way. Imagine a musician who never writes down their compositions. They play beautifully. But every time they sit down, the song is slightly different. Some notes move, some phrases disappear. Over time, the original version becomes impossible to find. Not because they forgot it, but because it was never fixed. The home without seiketsu is that song. You clean it again and again. But without a fixed version of what done looks like, every clean is a first attempt. The principle this points to is simple. A clean state must have a name. Not a photograph on Pinterest. Not a vague idea of tidiness. An actual personal definition of what this specific room looks like when it is complete. When you walk into a room and everything is in its place, the human mind needs to be able to compare what it sees to something. Without that reference point, the mind cannot rest. It just keeps looking, keeps feeling the low-level discomfort of a standard that was never set. This is why so many people find that buying organizers doesn't actually solve anything. The bins arrive, they get filled, but the room still doesn't feel different. Because the problem was never the absence of containers. It was the absence of a defined state. A place for things doesn't create peace. Knowing what the room looks like when it's working, really knowing it in a way you can return to, that's what creates peace. The next principle is what makes seiketsu real in daily life. Documentation doesn't mean complexity. Defining your baseline can be as simple as a single photograph of the room taken on a day when it felt right. Not perfect. Right. The kind of right that fits your actual life. That image becomes the reference, not a standard to perform, a standard to return to. If you've been looking for a way to turn this kind of intention into a daily practice, there's something in the first pinned comment that might be exactly what you need. It's called Cozy Home Builder. Answer a few questions. Get a personalized home plan in seconds, built around your available time, your energy, and what your home needs each day. It's the kind of tool that removes the hardest question. What do I do today? and replaces it with a clear, realistic plan. Returning to the principle, once the baseline exists, maintenance stops being a decision and becomes a recognition. You walk into the room. You scan it against the known state. You see 2 or 3 things that have drifted. You return them. That's the entire practice. Not a full clean, not a system overhaul, just the small act of returning to a state that already exists, already has a name, already feels like yours. This is what Seiketsu protects, not a perfect home, a consistent one. And consistency is what the mind actually needs. Perfection is exhausting because it requires performance. Consistency is restoring. It requires only recognition and return. The last idea inside Seiketsu is perhaps the quietest one. A standard only works if it was set for your life, not someone else's. The cycle of cleaning and re-cleaning often persists, not just because there's no baseline, but because the baseline being aimed at was borrowed from a magazine, from a social media account, from a version of home that belongs to a different life with different rhythms, different people, different needs. A standard built for someone else will always feel slightly wrong, and anything that feels slightly wrong is quietly, constantly resisted. The baseline Seiketsu calls for is yours, built around how your mornings actually unfold, around where people in your home actually leave their things, around how much visual quiet your mind actually needs. This is not a compromise, it is precision. The right standard, lived with consistently, creates more peace than a perfect standard fought with every day. What this video was really offering has nothing to do with organization methods. It has to do with the exhaustion of living without a settled sense of what home is supposed to feel like. Every time the cycle starts again, something in you registers a quiet sense of failure, even when you've done nothing wrong. The cycle doesn't persist because of laziness or disorganization. It persists because the clean state was never defined, never named, never made stable enough to hold. Seiketsu is not a cleaning technique. It is an act of self-respect, a way of saying, this home has a shape, and I know what it is. If that resonates, if you've been carrying the weight of not knowing where to start, or starting and watching it unravel again, there's a tool in the first pinned comment that was made for exactly this moment. Cozy Home Builder creates a personalized daily home plan based on your real situation. The time you have today, the energy you're working with, and what your home actually needs right now. No guilt, no rigid routine, no system that assumes every day looks the same. It also includes a home maintenance tracker that organizes recurring tasks by daily, weekly, and monthly rhythms. So small, maintenance replaces the marathon clean days, and nothing accumulates to the point of overwhelm. You stop wondering what to do. You stop feeling behind. You start with a plan that was made for your day, and you finish it feeling like your home is working with you. It's in the first pinned comment. The home that stays peaceful is not the one that was cleaned most recently. It is the one that has a known form to return to. That's all Seiketsu asks. Define the state. Then return to it, quietly, whenever it drifts.